Well, welcome everybody. So glad to have you circled up around our sacred fire again. And thank you, Jumbe, over there in Australia for holding that fire for us. So Grandpa Fire can listen and instruct us during these times. Oh, what a time we are in. I am so thankful for this delegation, for the heart that they carry and the courage they stand in and the wisdom they share with us all the time. We're standing here today in a really powerful moment because the equinox is upon us and a global day of peace is about to flow out across the planet. And great changes in our earth are shaking us awake. So with our intention today, I just want to enter into my own prayer and put the rest of what might want to come out of my heart and from that great mother herself as we begin this prayer to bring the messages of Mother Earth and her songs and her healing balm from the original peoples that watch after her territories with so much courage. Mother, Father, God, I give thanks to you today. Spirits of the four directions, those above us and below us and those working through us, I give thanks to you today. To the ancestors that have their hands on every shoulder that's gathered here, both in this circle of delegation, of representatives, of voices for this Mother Earth from her sacred territories, and to all those circled around this table with us in all the many and varied places that they may live, I give great thanks. Mother Earth, you are shouting at us right now. Your fires are running through the lands here, purifying us. Your hurricanes are bringing winds and waters upon the shores to awaken and cleanse us. Your earth is shaking in many places. They say there are dry hurricanes in the middle of deserts and lightning storms that are dry with no rain. A few weeks ago, I awoke for the first time in my 72 years of walking on this earth with no dawn in it. For it was 11 a.m. in the morning, my time, before the sun was seen. We are living in unprecedented times. We are living in a moment of choice. Please open our eyes and our hearts so we can work with the intelligence of those hearts to connect to the Mother Earth's heart and the intelligence that runs throughout her creation. Help us be humble as we approach this moment. Help us lay down old stories and hurts and pains. Help us lay down those things we no longer need that instructed us till now and are now complete, so that we might open to the possibility of what we are dreaming together. To the grandmother that dreamed us all to this place, and to the grandmother that is still dreaming us now, I give great thanks. May we bow humbly to her and lay our gifts upon her for holding this creation in that dream through all these times. I give great thanks to all of her elements that are mixing and dancing and opening themselves in strong and powerful ways so that we will open ourselves in strong and powerful ways so that we might match and see ourselves in that which sees us. For the breath of life that we all shared this morning as we stood up in our skin to stand in this day, I give great thanks. For the whispers that came through our dreams and the instructions that the prophecies carry for these times, I give great thanks. For the star nation and the way it is intervening and instructing us as well. For the moon herself as she dances with this Mother Earth and the sun itself, I give great thanks. For Mother Earth's family, this cosmic family that she travels throughout the cosmos with, the star nation, the moon, the sun, the planets that revolve around her. For that which lives deep in the core of herself, all above and all below, and that which is caught in between, I give great thanks. We are in a moment of dreaming. Let us step into the dream and embody the dream and walk the dream and be the dream. For the dream, we are dreaming, it is dreaming us. And for that, I give great thanks. This is my prayer. This is my prayer. This is my prayer. And now I'd like to call on my sister, Loretta, Afraid of Bear Cook. We've walked together a long time holding this dream, watching after that which she gave us to carry. She is from the Oglala Sioux, and she's here with us today as she in from the hill because she has people fasting. So Grandmother Loretta, would you bless us with a prayer? Would you bless us with some message from the Mother Earth herself?
I'm very honored to, sister. Thank you so much. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time out to be here today to help with this prayer and to strengthen all of us in the things in the work that we're doing and what we need. So I greet each and every one of you and I touch your face, and I'm going to ask for blessings for us so we can carry on this day and this day forward. I'm going to pray about the Lakota values that guide me in every step of the way that we're honoring each and every day. So I want to call on the 4 values. Wachante Oganake. Wachante Oganake is our word for generosity. Wotitakwe, or kinship, is our word, Wotitakwe, for all of our Tiwahe, our families, and all the families that make up the Tioshpaye. And then I'm going to talk to about Woksape and ask for great understanding, for wisdom, and so that each of us can give these things to our younger people. And then Wachin Tchanga is our word for having the big mind or fortitude. So I'm going to think about these 4 as we go into this day. Hoya ate Wakantanga Heche. Betu luta we miecha mithoka bahina shino etuse. Ochi jaki there, Iwachin. Taku Iwachin ching, then you can't gash like you. Taku dona waglushna nice to a taku ichashil wine cheche. Nice taku heche or hair dushnia would look so. The na magic to Iwachin. O heche oyate awak the dushni little ob while you're ducking on near chetka or unkiggle hominy in a hole. Daga pio yonk te killer not gash like you. Yat Isak it won't like on a hohena. It was a Ukichiosh to Ukichio, it was a Unichilapi, or Pekile. But the Dopa to Gashlacho, Ushumakapi, or Hechel, Bahupakosa, Katrangoyate, Side Sapala, Unaish Anu Krasa, Polena Chaji Chatapi, Other Chit from Gashla Hechel Machpia Dana Gapi, no Oyapi. Na unchimaka ona gashla trukahe unchimaka imahe chukatana ke unkant gashla lena tako as in gashla niehena yagahona niehena nitrapi ho hechse shka gashla o hechel kama khata kyun kaglutana unchimaka pie ona wo pre chaje chatan gashla wiaki unshika Oya te kilala koya kilana gashla duktekter wiyalana o hechus tiwahe ahuki papi ona iwash akwichaya te sempa o heche daktona aki abna ish daktona no pani bechi na gashla ushu wichala kinkta iwachin chena wichak ukte Adachit gashla dukteni Makaja was this day with you, Hakilana, or at the Tibet to Teni or Chium Tishni. Wait the only you hawk day, or you cut and bashla, I just say. When you fell by Chitkia Yampi, a true hot and bashla leda, betu jonala, or Piha, when up to Itima Hokiapi, or Hena, Dactona you hama only be, or throughout the summer as we walked through these ways of the country Palana, and Ohinia, Takun, a chunk una istakun ichafu, and istakun kichon yampi, or Lena Kichiastakun Kichiapunkie, Oitawa Kampilana Trumbashlacher, Trupataki Oyampi, Chel Oyateki, Bashlacher, you hocked. Una tukteni Trumbashla, we took pushing fishing. Oh, Tokuja was shita. Terjata Petershni wa Yonke. When I bet you hit to Bashla, Uchoni Eki Nakapi. When you cut to Bashla with Chokuja shita island going on beach to Bashla. Alea Yakuap Daiwachinchi. Detected Yanki Lena from Bashla Atike, which was unusual with Jacob. Now, just did from Bashla. Uchoni Eki Nakapi. You can't Bashla. Le hala petulel itemonia kapon kan bashla ila taktona bashla tiwa het khabel istamnia aubna cheche una is taktona bashla het takoni church job na cheche una we check think they watching che no hel ho o akha you high copy you kan bashla het le petuki pushkala ka was this o it is a ho chapre le petuki o Om lecha yang kapi le wana it om betu nu by el hiupi. Na mani chola wo it chola yang kapi he chel ukiti kapi pilana which is a when you feel kapi le opta hena you ha mani ukta hecha o una we choku je a yang pekile hena on khanta ha hetu se uche ke kafi ta kapi khanta bashla ushi na kapta watching che o kitapia pilana gashla oyate o wayotake o hechel wawop te tushni pihena gashla so wichake o hena some pauki wichayente o hena hechitukte ho na gashla na pelo chichi na kina lena hechituk o mitakuye oyasi all my relations. Thank you so much, very much from my heart. Wopila.
And thank you, Sister Loretta, grandmother, Sister Loretta. And, I'm sitting here with so much gratitude in my heart because in March, we were headed towards Stockholm, this whole Mother Earth delegation of United Indigenous Nations. We were going to have our first meeting there, get to know each other there, sit down and see how to organize ourselves and listen to the instruction of Mother Earth herself so we would know how to walk forward. And then the pandemic came and the bans came and none of us could travel. And right now it's very similar because the pandemic is still stirring, it's still purifying, it's still clearing us of things. And as Jingki told us early on when that happened, she said, now we have to sit in our 0 points. We have to allow ourselves to come back to those 0 points and light our sacred fires so that we can encourage ourselves and realign ourselves with those fires once again for ourselves and our families and our communities. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we're doing even now as we're gathering with all of you out there. And now we're on our way back to Stockholm, a small handful of us because many still cannot travel. But our Sami relatives are meeting us there and welcoming us into their sacred territories in the old ways. And we'll light our fire for this world and for Mother Earth. And those that can join us will be on the ground and the others will join us virtually. And on October the 2nd, we are working really hard so that Elin, who you'll hear from later, is going to be able to come and bring her yoking, her sacred song of her people with her band so she can lighten our hearts and light us up a little more, huh? And we have some amazing things. So October 1 through October 4, light your candles, hold your sacred fires in all the places around this planet so we can be firm in our unity with each other in this moment of need, to stand in that moment of solidarity for the earth herself, for life itself, huh? And then October the 7th through the 10th, we're still working on this, but there are many events that will come that some will be made public to stop ecocide, so that we can come back to honoring Mother, the Mother Earth and her laws that guardian us and show us how to walk again with unity and peace in our hearts and a reciprocity in our motion. So I just wanted to mention that, sis, before you go up on the mountain day, because you've got some people fasting up there and praying that way. So if you can bring that prayer up there and strengthen us so our travels will be safe, and the work that we're grounding there in Stockholm, where we're gathering the delegates of the North, will come to a good completion of this first part of our prayer, and we'll have feet underneath this Mother Earth delegation. So thank you for carrying things that way, and thank you for being here and starting our prayer this morning. Okay. And now, Uncle, I want to say good morning to you, good evening to you, because it's evening time out there for you. But I want to give thanks to you, and our prayers are still wrapped around you and that beautiful wife of so many years that has been the other wing, you said to us last time when you were on with the grandpas. So I know things are not so easy. So I thank you for the sacrifice you make to show up and be here with us now. So Uncle from Greenland, thank you.
Thank you. I brought with me today my instrument. We call her Teilus, which means an instrument from the great sky. And I wanted to ask the Great One to remove all the difficulties I make myself for myself, in my mind, in my heart, and in my body. The old people say that if I can ask him, the Great One, he will remove difficulties I carry and allow my heart to open and to behold the beauty of those in the circle. And I truly, truly pray for that I can see everyone's beauty. This is the way I do it. Oh, oh. Asani bingo chichishuni chuni kayo no toho siu tinu. Ayuga so on dan bingo Isu Amamita Sunga Oh. Oh.
Thank you, Uncle. I just want to sit for a minute and let that go all the way into our hearts and into our skin and into our whole body, so we can feel the sound that is coming. And just upon that sound is Elin, our Sami relative, that's coming to us from Sweden, the place where we're about to come, where we're about to activate something really strong and powerful. Someone just chatted that the orcas are starting to work together and disabling boats, especially their rudders, because they are fed up with humans destroying the ocean. The earth is active in so many realms, in so many ways. And Elin sings the sacredness of nature. So welcome, Elin.
Thank you. Oligito. And it's an honor to sit here in the circle and knowing that there's so many circles of prayers actually around this world. So yeah. So today my prayer is for the little ones, for the ones that choose to come here and in this house now. I have almost a newborn and my goddaughter who's just turned 50 years old. And just feeling these innocent, beautiful souls and the work we're doing, the prayers for everyone to come on this earth and to feel the way we can live and pray with her so that our footsteps may be the ground for the coming feet of this world. Indira gera sul etnamin. Indira gera sul etnamin. Shofta stalamin sonle. Chovo elkas valkamai. Indira gera sul etnamin. So Indira, she dances on this earth. This is a song about a little girl. And she dances on this earth and she's wild and free. and she follows her feet and where they will lead. And she dances free on this earth. And she's the daughter of the sun and the child of the wind. And she makes this world new. So let us feel that new world of the ancient wisdom and the songs of the new, like a circle, like that beating heart of her within us all. And let that beating heart guide us. That rhythm, that song, home, home. So I just want to say thank you and oligito and Borisbaten. You are so welcome to Stockholm. And we will light the fire in a very traditional way there from the far north. And from a very small area up in the north in Sápmi. So, yeah, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Elin. Please give Erica our love. I know she couldn't join
Yes.
today. And my prayer is with your prayer, and I'll see you in Stockholm in about a week, huh?
Woohoo!
Let it be that way.
So it is. So it is.
So it is. So it is. Oh, Grandmother Casey of the Ponca peoples of Turtle Island. I want to give great thanks that you could be with us today. I know you've been working really hard these days. A lot of things are breaking through. So I'm glad to hear from you today and to see what wisdom you might want to share.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with everyone. What a beautiful bunch of incredible humans. And I know you're connected to your peoples in a very strong way, and that's an honor to be among your peoples and to feel them through you. Thank you all for who you are and what you do, and choosing to be a warrior through this peaceful, prayerful way that we're moving through this right now. I am hearing so many of the feelings that I've been sitting in, echoing through your prayers, through your songs, through your thoughts. And I guess that maybe my thoughts are also with the children that are moving through this time effortlessly, seamlessly, tirelessly, and very, very feeling the difficulty and the vibrations of this changing time at the same moment. I'm feeling the fires that are happening everywhere in a sacred manner. You know, I was listening on the news to them speaking of the fires on the West Coast, and I've been speaking to Susan as well and others about what's going on there. And the weather people were very surprised to say these firestorms are creating their own weather. They're creating thunderstorms. They're creating tornadoes made of fire. And thinking that if the indigenous wisdom was allowed to have continued to caretake that place, maybe this wouldn't be the same way. But we're back to that place now, where these voices, these prayers, this understanding is something that all of us are moving into in a very powerful way. I know I'm very grateful to be part of something with Alexis that will be talking about the rights of nature and to always remind human beings that we are not separate from nature. We are nature. And until we can get that internalized within not only the human mind, psyche, and spirit of those who have forgotten, but also within the political realm of those countries and states where we live, and the new policies and the new ways of looking at things and the new understanding that is actually the very nugget, the very acorn of the Indigenous way of understanding how to live within the natural laws. When we can begin to lay that groundwork within a framework that even they understand, then our children are going to have the benefit of just growing up in that natural law in the way that our peoples always have. And that's my thought today more than anything. My thoughts are going to stay with our delegation that is going to Sweden. My granddaughter and I very much wanted to join you, but our guidance is to stay home. Our guidance is to caretake our sacred territories and ourselves. This is our territory right now. This is what we inhabit and what we have to caretake for the future generations. She's still in training. She's still learning. And she doesn't want me to endanger myself, and I don't want her to. So we're going to continue to share our space within the sacred Yupik ceremonies here at home, our sweat lodge ceremonies, and continue to teach in the best way and learn. My peoples, my Ponca peoples, are really being impacted by COVID-19 right now. We have dozens in our small community that are suffering. We have our tribal headquarters shut down and everything is in flux right now. But our original teachings back in those days told us when our peoples are troubled, we don't do anything outside of our territory. We stay home and we keep our fires burning here in a good way. We make our prayers in the daylight when the sun comes up, and we pray with that water and try to help ourselves through this. You know, there's times when these illnesses were deliberately handed to us before in those ways of germ warfare that they first brought those smallpox blankets. And some of our people were so brave that when they came down with the sickness, they separated themselves off and went to a camp by themselves to try to get through the illness without spreading it among themselves. So in a way, we're trying to take a look at how do we do that? What was the original instructions around these times? So I'm going to offer a short song here. And I know all of the way we started was in our mother's womb, within the water. So I'm going to offer a song that says water is life, and we thank you for that blessing. The water herself taught me this song. Ni kanitazi wiblahamambli, wiblahamambli, wiblahamambli. Ni kanitazi wiblahamambli, ni kanitazi wiblahamambli, wiblahamambli. Wiblahamambli, Niakanitauzi, Wiblahamambli, Niakanitauzi, Wiblahamambli, 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 Niakanitauzi, Wiblahamambli, Kanitazi, wiblahamambli, Without only, without only, near canitas, without, without only. Sha.
Thank you, Grandmother Casey, for your good and strong words and for taking good care of yourselves. Many of our delegates, as you know, will be at home too and lighting their fires and running ceremony for us. So we'll have this prayer anchored in many places around this planet. And many others have written in and will tell me they want to light their fires in sacred places too. So our fires will be joined. And this is our prayer for unity. So thank you. I will count on the strength of that coming. Thank you. Grandmother Flordemayo. We've been walking together a long time, and we have a lot of good stories to share with each other and with other people, but we don't have time today to do so. But I love that we have history and that we're making more all the time. So I just want to say thank you for coming. You're here. You bring the messages and the teachings of your Mayan people, and you live on this turtle island for the moment. What is it you would like to share with us today?
Excuse me, Flordemayo, you need to unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was under the spell of all of the prayers. I want to say thank you, Jyoti, to you. I want to say thank you to our grandmothers and grandfather delegates. I want to thank the spirit of our ancestors for bringing us together on this beautiful, beautiful day today, this Saturday here in New Mexico. In our Mayan calendar today is the day of Toch. And Toch is the offering to the fire. And so throughout the day, we think about the Toch. And of course, we offer it to the fire throughout the day. And in this offering that it's done, we give our gratitude for all of the things, all of the good things and all of the indifferent things that are going on in our lives. I think a lot about this pandemic. And the reason that I think about it is because it has reminded me a lot of being a child when I had tuberculosis. And this illness of tuberculosis brought me into a state of isolation. And in this state of isolation, brought me into a place of just total prayer. There was not much that I can do other than take care of myself. And so I think on this particular day of all of those people that might be in hospitals, that might be recovering, that might be in that place of perhaps maybe going home today. I think about especially the children, because it's really, really hard for the children when they are sick. A lot of the times they don't understand it. But it's a place that that we learn absolute quietness and absolute prayer and absolute in that state of God state where we are just constantly in prayer. On this particular day, we bring offerings of different types of copal to the altar to be put on the fire. Different colored candles. Different things that are aromatic because we want to send the scent to our beloved Creator. I want to share with you a lullaby that is, it's a very warming lullaby that is between a mother and a child. And I also think of our beloved Mother Creator, Mother, Father. I think about her because that was something that has always been in my heart. And of course, on this particular day, in which we bring ourselves to the Creator. The Spanish word is for this is called entregar. We bring our sorrows and our pain and we pray and we ask that these indifferent things are removed and that when we are awakened tomorrow at dawn, that we have a better day. All of us, each and every one of us. So we give our heart at the moment to Creator. We shed our tears as we hum. We feel the loneliness in our hearts. The pain. Sometimes the ingratitude of life. We bring all of the offerings that we can to the sacred fire, asking for strength and to be loved again and to receive that love again, to nurture our hearts so that when we awaken tomorrow, we are in love again. It's the vibration of love between a mother and a child, all of the children, the humans, the animals, the plants, all of those that live in the water. We're all children of the one, Father, Son, Mother Earth. Connecting us through the heart, through a beautiful, beautiful string, this beautiful, beautiful golden string. Thank you to everyone. And I would like to wish much success in Stockholm. And I'm going to keep everyone in my prayers. Much blessings. Thank you.
Thank you, Grandmother Sister Flordemayo. Beautiful. Makes me want to be still inside. And that brings us to Korakindi. Welcome, Korakindi. I want to give great thanks for you for joining us today. You're standing with the Quechua people of Ecuador, and you bring good medicine to us all. Can you bring that today?
Para mí es un placer estar en esta reunión y poder ofrecer una oración que viene desde el fondo de mi corazón. Crecí en la Amazonía con la libertad de correr, con la libertad de cantar, con la libertad de vivir la armonía de la naturaleza. For me, it's an honor to be here and to do my prayer to humanity. I grew up in the rainforest with freedom. I ran with freedom. I enjoy the elements with freedom. I'd like to offer my prayer for all children. The best that I can do is to ask the harmony for the new generation. Hatun apu hawa pachaitia, kai pachata hawa pachata seriku. Ashkata mikanda pagrachuni, tuku nyuka shungua, nyuka yuyaiwa. Kamiali nishka gangi, charaiku mikanda tapuni, hatun apu. Suma kausaita, nyukanchita kui. Suma kausaita, wawa gunaraiku manyani. Kanda mi ministinchi. Chasayata mi kanda manyani hatun apu. Kutiliata suma kausaita nyukanchita kui. Pachamama kambalpai mi wasisha tarpusha kausanchi. Suma kausaita mi manyani kanda. Indi yaya. Kamba punjao mi yerikusha kausanchi. Suma kausaita mi kanda manyani. Yaku mama. Kaibi kausaguna mi kamba yakutupisha kausanchi. Suma kausaita mi kanda manyani. Waira yaya. Tukui kaibi kausaguna mi kamba waira tasamasha kausanchi. Suma kausaita mi manyani. Suma kausaita runa gunaraiku wawa gunaraiku. Nyukanchi. Ushi suma kausangawa. Suma kausai shamgami. Haya ya 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 haya ya 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 haya ya 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 Pachamama kausai shamgami. Haya ya 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 haya ya 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 haya ya 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 hindi kausay siya hanggang haya ya 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 haya ya 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 haya ya 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 yaku mama kausay siya hanggang haya ya 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 Haya ya 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 haya ya 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 quay đã cóc xây xa mùng ngầm mi haya ya 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 haya ya 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 haya ya 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 Ashkata mikanda pagrachuni Pachamama kambal paimi purisha tarpusha kausanchi summa kausaita nyukanchima hui summa yuyaykunata summa shunguta nyukanchi summa shunguwa kai ñambita kuska ñambita puringawa ashka pagrachu hatun apo kamba makimi churani tukuy ñukanchi kausaita tukuy ñukanchi yuyayta tukuy ñukanchi shunguta kamba suma causa isa mucho. Kamba suma causa isa mucho. Ashkata mi pagachuni hatu. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you, Korakindi. Thank you for being up so late at night. You make great sacrifices in this way more than once, so thank you. Grandfather Stephen Newcomb of the Shawnee Lenape peoples of Turtle Island. Thank you for coming today, and we look forward to the message you bring us.
Greetings, everyone. Delawansa Steve Newcomb, Nululendum Elipauk. Kikayu Yamananinga. Kishilamiang, Mil Ungundawakan, Mili Ungundawakan, Uli Nepali, Uli Nipalinan, Wanishi, Kishilamiang, Kikayu Yamananingake. A short prayer in our Lenape language, addressing the Creator, Kishilamiang, and our ancestors, Kikayu Yamananingake, our departed loved ones. And I want to extend my greetings to everyone and to give thanks for the miracle of life on Mother Earth, and to say that our original instructions, our teachings, are about the need to sustain and maintain all life for forever, for all future generations. And our ancestors have a legacy of evolving over thousands and thousands of years, to use a Western European notion of time, or extending back to the beginning of time through our traditional way of understanding, to evolve over that period of time, teachings and knowledge and wisdom about the need to have a respectful relationship with all forms of life, and to maintain life, to the water, for the air in our lungs, and to give thanks for everything, and for our women and our children, and for the trees, for all the plants, for all the animals, and to realize that we're all, in that sense, equal in the bounty of life, the flourishing of life, the abundance of life. And it's not a matter of hierarchy to have power over, or to have domination over. It's a matter of having this deep and abiding love and thankfulness, as I've already mentioned. Our first, in a sense, first prayer, Wanishi, our word for thank you or thanks. And I think that that is the perhaps the great gift of our knowledge systems. All the original nations of the hemisphere, Western Europe, that over many thousands of miles of ocean. And when those people came by ship and landed on our shores, unfortunately, they had a different way of seeing life, of understanding life, that they had an idea that there was some part of themselves that was entitled to have power over everyone and everything, and the ability to use their thoughts and their ideas to assert that right, as they call it in their documents, of subjugation or domination. So there's that contrast, that contrast between the original free and independent existence of our nations and peoples, extending back to the beginning of time, and that other system, that other way of thinking and behaving that was brought over here by ship, as I said. And so that's the challenge, because as our great leader Tecumseh, our Shawnee leader Tecumseh said, he said that the Great Spirit had given the land to our people as a gift, and that we had a responsibility to care for our lands and for all the living things within our homelands. And said they are determined to occupy this good land themselves, and to destroy these forests. And he said, if you doubt it, come, go with me a few days' journey eastward and southward along our ancient trails, and I will show you a land you once occupied, made desolate. There the forests of untold years have been cut down and cast into the fire. There the buffalo and deer, the fish and the fowl are gone. There the woodland birds whose sweet songs once pleased your ears have forsaken the land, and the wild flowers your maidens once loved to wear have withered and died. And he said, beware of them, for they love gold and gain more than one another, even their own souls. That's a teaching that has to do with greed and the spirit of greed. And so we make these efforts and have been making these efforts over many, many centuries to attempt to maintain our languages, cultures, and spiritual traditions, the legacy and gift of our knowledge and wisdom systems bequeathed to us by our ancestors. But it has been a challenge because we've been under assault, just as the earth has been and continues to be. And so this is the challenge we face: how to maintain our spiritual grounding and centeredness, how to maintain our spiritual connection and love for all life, love for the waters, and to realize that it's important that the planet not be continuously under assault based upon an ideology of domination, dehumanization, and greed. So this is the great challenge that we're up against: how to work through that contrast and how to create a transformation toward a better way of living, better way of having respectful communication with one another and with all forms of life. So with that, I will thank you, and Wanishi.
Thank you, Grandfather Stephen. You're truly a protector of life, and I'm really humbled to be walking this good road with you. Thank you. So Alexis Bunten comes from the Unangan and Yupik people of the cold country of Alaska, and your wisdom and your action are what I always associate with you, Alexis. So welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Grandmother Jyoti, and your opening at the top of this gathering is just what I needed to hear today. You must have been tuning in to me, so I really appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Grandmother Casey for sharing what she did, and especially the part about how the people who were sick and the elders would take themselves away, because what it struck me during this time of pandemic is that Europeans didn't even have germ theory until recently. But Casey's people, the Ponca, they had germ theory. They knew how it spread and what to do. I mean, it took Europeans a long time to catch up to that. And but people still don't have it, because I live in now Monterey, California, and which is the homeland of the Rumsen Ohlone people, and the tourists just keep flooding in and they just don't stop. And I don't know why they care more about themselves and their vacation than all the people they could be infecting. It's just the disease of the mind. I also want to thank Grandfather Stephen for queuing me up perfectly for what I want to talk about. And I don't speak as well off the cuff as everybody else on this call. So I jotted down some notes of some things that have been bubbling up in my mind over the last few weeks. And I'm going to be referring to that. I also want to thank Grandmother Flordemayo for reminding us that we are all the same at the end of the day and in this together. And Uncle Kurikindi for just painting a really beautiful image in my mind of what true freedom really is, and everybody else who hasn't spoken yet. And I do want to pick up on all those themes today about us needing to come together, all people all around the world at this unprecedented time, and that we need to come together and kind of let go of these false notions of the things that divide us, things, ephemeral things that don't matter beyond this lifetime, and not even in this one, like age, skin color, social position, class. And we have a lot of people who are joining us on these calls now live, being streamed, and also watching these videos that they don't see themselves as part of a living Indigenous community, but they want to connect with Indigenous wisdom and spiritual traditions. And they feel like the Indigenous wisdom that, if you dig deep enough, is back in their ancestry, everybody's ancestry. They feel like it's lost, and it's lost due to a number of factors. A very simple way to put it might be due to capitalism, which encourages people, all of us, to disconnect from the planet and nature. Christianity, which there's many beautiful things about that religion, but it being twisted and used in the function of powerful elites to take more and have less, as Stephen was telling us about. These ideas that humans are not the same as nature, or that we aren't animals, or that we're better than other species. But capitalism, for lack of a better term, it's really about raping the planet and taking things without reciprocity, without knowing the rules, without having the protocols, the reverence for it, to understand what happens if you take. And right now, planetary wise, we're all reaping the effects of that and not following those protocols. And I think that many of our allies who are on this call, who are joining us, they know that Native communities, Indigenous communities around the world, are the last people in the world that know those protocols, have that understanding, and practice it every day. Now, that's not to stereotype Indigenous peoples. We have all these amazing culture bearers, leaders on this call, but even in our own communities in Alaska, we've been brainwashed by it too. A lot of our leaders, a lot of our organizations are pro-mining, pro-fracking, pro all of these terrible things, and we've been brainwashed as well. So it's not an Indigenous, non-Indigenous distinction necessarily. It's just that we need to stop being trapped by these ideologies and neoliberalism, thinking that we have to operate in a cash economy. Freedom, true freedom, is probably outside of that, as Kurikindi reminded us. We don't have to have a vehicle that relies on fossil fuels. So the situation that we're in right now has obviously been hundreds and hundreds of years in the making. And another thing I've been talking with a lot of friends about lately is this idea that people who may be descendants of settlers, guests on Indigenous lands, I'm specifically referring to America and settler colonial nations, the reason we're so able to be brainwashed is that we need to recognize that we've had so many generations of intergenerational trauma. And it's not just Native peoples, it's not just our relatives who went to Indian boarding schools and passed on that trauma. It's the trauma from, why did your ancestors come here to settle in the first place? How were they abused? How were their families torn apart? How were they exploited? And it's not embarrassing, but some of you may know that I was on a show in Sweden that brought Americans of Swedish ancestry to Sweden to discover our ancestry and meet our living family members. Some also descendants of some Swedish immigrants to America. And what I learned from the other people on the show is that they had these horrible, horrible backstories, you know, living in huts, being burned alive, having your children taken away from you because they were born out of wedlock, being so poor you couldn't even eat, you had to steal a loaf of bread and went to jail for 10 years and your family got ripped apart. And I learned the other side of that as well, because I was actually unusual in that my family had their own tragic story in Sweden, but for hundreds of years, they were on the other side of that oppression, oppressing all those people whose ancestors or descendants are now Americans, who are now have no problem not questioning American individualism, the me, buy, tourist lifestyle, because they're not facing that intergenerational oppression and dealing with it. And they're so far away from their ancestors who celebrated fall equinox, celebrated the solstices, were in tune with nature. They hadn't had it for so many generations. So for those of you for whom that rings true, who are joining us as the attendees and future watchers, I just want to encourage you to begin to explore that. I want to thank you for being here and listening to all these amazing people on this call. You've got a lot of wisdom to share and to do your own exploration and know, just like Grandmother Flordemayo said, none of us are any separate from each other. There's nothing inherently more special about those of us panelists on the call than any of you paying attention, and that you can access that as long as we're open to listening and exploring and really recognizing the deep roots of all of this, as Grandfather Stephen told us. And eventually, I think it would be nice to tear apart these divides between Indigenous, non-Indigenous, ally, person of color, or anything like that, because truly what we're going through right now is so planetary and it's so huge that every single person on this planet needs to realize that we all hold the same exact responsibility for addressing the problems that we've collectively caused for those who've passed and those who are yet to come. It's not just the responsibility of people who grew up in Indigenous communities. So I just want to, that was actually my last thought, and then the bell dinged. So I'm going to stop right there and just thank you that I get to join this amazing group of people. I'm very thankful that we were all brought together.
Oh, thank you so much, Alexis. Hi. You know, I was praying this morning, and something that I had heard yesterday came up in my prayer was a gratitude for the courageous souls that put skin on to come walk in this time we're in right now, because we're at an ending cycle. In India, when I was traveling over there, on the temple walls, you'd see a clock, and from 12 to 1 would be 2,500 years. And from 1 to 2 would be another 2,500 years. And so it would go all the way around for 26,000 years. And the very last piece of that clock was called the Kali Yuga, dark time, the ending cycle. And once you get through the Kali Yuga, then it opens into the brand new cycle of 26,000 more years that she's about to turn herself. So it took a lot of courage to put skin on right now so we could talk this honest talk like you just did, like many of the elders are today, that we could be kind in our sharing and our awakening process, because waking up is messy. where we you know, we just, it's like a brand new baby comes out. It's not all clean and pristine. It's a bit messy. So I think we're in our messy stage right now. But having honest talk, being courageous enough to just share what it's looking like from each point of our circle, so we can see the whole circle, then we might get to that answer that's different than the one we're stuck in. So thank you for your honesty and your clarity this morning. Grandmother Luisah Teish, Oshun chief, and she lives now in Oakland, and she's been challenged a little bit with her health. So I'm really glad she's here today and that she's strong in herself, because when she comes, our great lady comes too. Welcome. You need to turn your, unmute yourself. Can you help her, Margine?
She has to do it herself. I cannot do anything from here.
Okay, everybody take a deep breath while Luisah takes a moment to find that button. And we can just sit down in the stillness for a moment, because in the stillness, the mother always comes.
Now I am unmuted. The magic is amazing. As soon as we went into the stillness, the machine obeyed. Iamile odo. Iamile odo. Bobo ashe. Iami sarama oye. Iamile odo. My mother, whose house is in the water, bring me your power on each ripple and wave. I want to begin by recognizing and paying homage to a most powerful mother who has stepped out of her skin and away from us, Mother Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who left us recently to go to the land of the ancestors. I would like to acknowledge our brother, Father John Lewis, who also has stepped out of his skin and into the land of the ancestors. And to the ancestors of everyone in this call, and especially those in Stockholm, who have stepped to the other side to help us in this amazing journey that we must take at this time. I am working to overcome not only physical challenges, some of which are the threatened pre-existing conditions that seem to be so debatable these days, but also from a what I call an eco-spiritual malaise, because being here on Ohlone land in Oakland, California, where right now the air smells like charcoal because of the California fires. And especially, I am haunted by the birds that are falling from the sky because of the polluted air. I'm a bird woman. And so to know that my feathered sisters are falling like this is as much of a challenge as the medical procedures that I myself have been having. But today I want to invite you to the standard African call and response sort of endeavor. The word I want to offer to you today is actually the name of one of the aspects of the goddess that I sang to in the beginning, my personal goddess, Oshun. In all that has been going on repeatedly, the oracle says to me to remind us that although this may appear to be the end of the human race, it is not. It is more importantly the end of the way that humans have related to Mother Earth and to each other. It is a time when we must change, when we must reconnect with nature, ourselves, and each other. And so the word that I want to share with you as one of her names is Awojiji. Can everybody please just say that? Awojiji. And so when one says Awojiji, we are saying that we see the goddess's mirror. We are looking in that mirror and we see our own face in the face of nature. So I am going to do a litany for you. And if you agree that you can see your own reflection in that mirror, then all you need do is say, Awojiji, and she will know that you count yourself among her children. Iyami Oshun, she who has come to aid us in this time of trouble. I ask that you look upon these children of yours who have gathered here to recite Awojiji to you, to say that they see your beauty in their own reflection. I call upon the mother as the asteroid out in space who is coming to bring us fresh water. Look in the mirror, and if you can see yourself moving through outer space toward Earth to bring freshness, please say, Awojiji. I call upon the purity of the white clouds that holds the water in the form of rain, and ask that that rainwater hover above the flames wherever the forest is burning, and to let that rain from those clouds fall to cool the earth. If you can see your own reflection in the rain cloud that soothes the earth, please say, Awojiji.
Awojiji.
I call upon that fresh water as it falls on the floor of the forest, that Oshun Doko, who refreshes the earth, who helps things to grow. If you can see yourself as the saplings, as the ferns, as all of the things that are lying asleep on the forest floor, now unfurling to refresh the earth, can you see your reflection in the mirror of her natural power? If so, please say, Awojiji.
Awojiji.
Thank you so much. I ask you now to look into the eyes of the birds and the deer and the snakes and the bugs and all the creatures that roam the forest and live upon the earth. And if you can see the beauty of the lady of the forest in the eyes of these creatures, if you can feel your kinship to them, please say, Awo Gigi.
Awo Gigi.
And very, very, very importantly, we are told that in the creation of the humans, that it was her and her artistic genius that took great pleasure in painting us different colors, in giving us different shapes and sizes and textures of hair. If you can look into the eyes of other human beings on this planet and recognize the beauty of her artistry, if you see yourself reflected as beautiful among other humans, please say, Awo Gigi.
Awo Gigi.
Awo Gigi means I see the secret reflected when I look in the mirror. Iyamile Odo Iyamile Odo Bobo Ashe Iyami Sarama Oye Iyamile Odo Iyamile Odo Awo Gigio. Thank you.
Awo Gigio. Thank you, Grandmother Tish.
Welcome.
Oh, Awo Gigi. And I'm just going to let that move right in here for Grandmother Jingki.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's of the Nyungar people of Australia. And she has a way of catching things that turn your heart into an open flower and let the fire of it flow out. Grandmother Jingki.
Oh wow, Gigi. Maputukupa. Mapuyalburu. Mabugamani. Mapubura. Melegorangai tukupa. Melegora yai tukupa. Melegora kuruto. Give thanks to Great Spirit. Give thanks to the Sacred Grandmother. Give thanks to Great Spirit tukupa. The spirit of all of us, you and me, ngaju, jungai, you, me, you, ujara, together. I asked for Great Spirit, for Mother Earth, to listen to our hearts. Yayani Bugari, our dreaming, our creation, Ngagototo, from heart. Ngalian, from spirit. We stand for hope. This little child within me, from that dream, and all that we've walked from that place of that little child. That pure little child saying that one day we're all going to get along. One day there will be the removal of misunderstanding between us all. One day we shall remember who we are together. and we'll remember the original way, or the proper way, or the true heart way. This is this day. Juanila, Ngainila. I remember, I know. You remember, you know. Yainila. We all remember, we know. It's a simple thing. It's only that we let go of all those stories that keep us separate, that stop us from allowing us to continue to be sustainable on this planet together. Today, I offer hope. I stand strong with the hope of this new dreaming, that our children, like the child within me, that called forth for this dream to come forth and ground itself on heaven, on earth, Lamonbora, Rangiburu, lightning spirit earth ground, that all our children only know to play together, only know to live in peace together, only know to come back to remember the original responsibilities of caretaker role, remembering and knowing that we're here sharing and caring for each other as shareholders of the resources of Mother Earth. We are here today on behalf of Gondwanaland. Gondwanaland is all of us together, because it's always been like that. We have many faces and many names, many places, come around many times, you know, and I could have been doing it too, and I could have taken you out, and you could have taken me out. And we were in the dominating part of that code, and we were, you know, receiving the other end of the blow of that code as well. So I think we know, all of us, what it's like to experience that until we don't want it no more. We offer hope because we don't want it that more. We learn from our walk, and the experiences. There's no regrets, and there's only love and appreciation to everyone that has taught us to be who we are, to learn from those experiences, to offer our hearts only to give forgiveness and to let the pain go. We can truly have a new beginning. Mabu Mabu. I stand here in Wadipur, the far northwest, like the Samis there. And I remember a Sami lady coming here in the very beginning saying, no one can get rid of corporations, you know, but she always said to me, there's room on my boat. And there's a level of trust that we all have to rely on each other from that heart, knowing from that lian, that going back to trust law, to love, and to working together. So we bring hope as Gondwanaland, because from source that I am to this embodiment that I am being right now, and that's my beautiful dog, Berenba. She's a Pleiades. It is really important to know that I've done really well in the walk of this journey, but today now, we can offer a porthole for all of us to move through, to get the knowledge and the wisdom that is required, that allows the deception and the manipulation of the whole of humanity to conflict amongst each other and be distracted in what we must do together as caretakers of this earth, to clean the rivers, to make the water pure and beautiful again. We know how to do that. The crystals show us that. Everything, the same way we created in the beginning, the same way we brought it to this particular point, the same way we can grow the trees, that we can green Gondwanaland, and we can give and make an agreement as adults, responsible humans and adults to our children, to bring peace upon this earth, and that we can all agree to a shared responsibility and a shared vision of the true participation of humanity and what it's like to be a human being. And that one day we too shall return through our children to enjoy all those beautiful things that we put today. So I offer this porthole. I shall link it in. It is part of the community of the world. I walk with the world from the four corners of the earth, from the four colors of the red, yellows, black, and white. The Moetri laws of grandmothers of creation, of all skins and stars. And those four colors make the rainbow. And that is how we got our colors from being black and white. I'd like to offer this porthole. Eleonora will be giving and bringing that to all of you. I'm on my resurrection journey now because I'm leaving the sea and I'm on my way back to land. I'm leaving more Admiralty law. I don't need to be a part of the ship. I'm a part of a canoe, a waka, Mother Earth, Yak, and to become in awakened state as I rise up in my awakened states, to become a living man with a womb, free in my full authority, not power, to make a choice, to say, I make a choice with each and every one of you human beings to exit what is not sustainable anymore. For an ancient principle is when a system is not sustainable, we must revert to the divine and natural law that we are. This porthole offers knowledge and a wise way forward to reclaim your life and to move away from the paper, the name on the paper, the system, the domination system that brings you into monopoly game, when only a few get to park, to Mayfair, right? We all know that game, but we can agree to a new one. Be in a circle. A code of equity is a circle. How we share and care for each other. I'm leaving that world and I'm now coming back on the land as the Lord that I am, from my divine and natural right to be here in this time, to stand strong and to shine that light and to give the knowledge wisely, and for all to be in our power and in our divine and natural authority to make really important decisions now for the earth and for our children and our future. I hope you will join and walk with me as I walk with you all. Mother Earth, Bora, Earth Star, my family, my people from the four corners. I call you all now. Walk with me, walk with us. Let's make those decisions. Let's leave the ship that's sinking. It's time to move forward together, and it's time to help each other to remember who we are. And for those who've lost their way, well, let's help them and show them and support them the way home, as we always do. I have room on my boat. And thank you to the Northern Lights, because two lights are better than one. And we were told that the Northern Lights would join us one day and that the eagle would fly with the condor. And so we shall fly with the condor. And we do fly with the condor, the heart and the head. And we head together and we are awake. And it's time to move forward together. Love you all. Stand strong, knowing who you are. Source first. And a beautiful human experience with all our families and children. Peace be with you. Love you all. Kujara, kujara, inja, kujara, yayi, kujara, 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 inja, kujara, yayi, kujara,
Kujara, kujara.
Together, coming together, you, me, all together. My puppy dog loves this song too. It's their favorite song. Warren Jari, Walangari, Kujara, Yai, Kujara, Kujara. One circle coming together, one circle going together. You, me, all together. Majara Janara, Raguja. Mejara Janara, Radipuro, Raguja. rise to lightning spirit, earth, ground, get up, stand up, get on with it. Warren Jare Bora, one earth, Warren Jare Romerawalga, one sun, Warren Jare Kohong Arlo, one moon, Warren Jare Bogare Boro, one dreaming land, Kujara, Kujara, Inja Kujara. Let's sing us all together. For a circle doesn't have no sides. It has no top-down approach. We all got each other's backs. We're all supporting each other and all we're bosses all together, making all decisions in balance. Love you. Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Mother Delegation, grandfathers, grandmothers today. I hear your voices. I hear you call. I hear your heart. I hear your spirit. Let's walk together now. Let's create the world that we've been all dreaming for. And let's put it on the planet together. Because we can.
Oh, oh, Grandmother Jingki. You know, when she can feel me sometimes when it's a hard moment or a big challenge is coming, and I get up early in the morning to watch the sun come up every day, greet that dawn with my prayers, and my little WhatsApp will be there, and there'll be Jingki singing me one of her songs to encourage me on. So I know that song reached out to all those that are gathered in our circle around the fire today, and it's encouraging us all. Thank you so much, Jingki. So, Grandfather Milo Yellowhair, Oglala Sioux, and we've been walking a long time on this planet for the Black Hills and for the earth and the ways that she took us. So, Milo, would you share with us a message today and a prayer?
All right, you can hear me, and I just want to say, ampeto ashte, le ampeto ki kipielo, le ampeto ki ea, wani ki ea lila on tan yomakpi. And just said today is a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be who you were born to be. And it's always a great pleasure for me to come and be a part of the manifestation that we have here over these over the air. I guess it's called Zoom. And but it's always amazing that the train of thought is always goes back to the original teachings of Mother Earth, and that I'm glad that many of our people are still remembering these stories and these songs that was dreamed into this world by people whose shoulders that we are standing on. And but I was really happy to hear Flordemayo, the songs that she sang, which is very similar to Lakota lullabies that sang for children when they were being fussy and they were cranky, and then they take them and then they wrap them up real tight, and then they hold them real close and they start to sing these songs to them. And within a few minutes, they usually quiet down real quiet, or else they go to fall asleep. And so it's all of these, the use of the drum and how we use the drum is also, again, we always say the drum beat is always the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And when we mention the birds, and then as you might well know, you know, that one of the stories that Lakota people live with is called the Great Race, in which the two-legged being were being challenged by the Buffalo Nation, and to see the four-legged people, to see who would eat who. And it ended up that the birds are both two-legged, and so are the human beings, and they came together and won the race around the Black Hills. And So it's all these kind of things that for me has always been sitting here and reflecting on it, and feeling a lot of hope and about this. And I know that all the people that are coming together in Stockholm is going to be a good meeting to be at. It's be a good place to be at. But again, like we say, it's the thought that matters the most, or it's the prayer that matters the most. And so in this way that, our prayers are going to be there. And we will hope that, the fire that we generate during this time, carries the message of strength to Jyoti and all the rest of the people that are going to Stockholm, and that good things will come in their way, on their path, and that they will could be strong and they will be healthy when they come back again. And that the message that we carry, the message that we give them will also find strength. And for us to continue at our home fires. And again, it is only one earth, and it's only a time that there should be one dream, coming together in this. But we can interpret this dream in many ways, and so I just wanted to say that much to a lot of the people that are moving and going on into different areas. And so I just want to say that much in terms of ake ampeto ate washte hapana ha chankuni topic taku washte hene tainkelo. That you have a great day, and the path that you're traveling on, there will be many good things coming to it. And with that, I'd just like to say thanks to everybody, and for keeping their prayer going. And that's really, really quite important. And because not only do we need it as people who are in some isolated areas, but to realize that we are not alone, and that the song that we have sung is something that we learn from the earth, and it blows in the winds, and the smoke that we breathe in, is like you say, it's a cleansing time, and it makes us think of who we are as a human being, that it's time that we start being better human beings. And I hope that this is what our final, that our legacy that will allow us to be remembered far into the future because of the humanity that we express. So again, thank you very much today. It's hopefully that all of you are fine, and that I know that many tears are flowing also, but this is only strengthens the soul. And we hope that all of you are in a good way and wherever you may be. So pila maya pilo, thank you very much.
Thank you, Grandfather Milo, for your good words and your support and your prayers. I'll be counting on them while we're traveling and when we light that sacred fire there in Stockholm, while we hold it for those 4 full days with all that are gathered here and more. And that brings us to Jombe, back in Australia, Aboriginal custodial person. Walk in a good way. Bring your heart's message to us today, will you, Jombe? Thank you for keeping that fire. It's helped a lot today. Thank you. It's strengthened us.
No worries. Firstly, thank you everybody. It's good to feel everyone again. I've been down here again, east coast of Australia. Ngombal country in Bunten Nation. I've been feeling everything that's going on everywhere. The feeling, trying to keep a very strong connection to the deeper primordial energy of this earth. It's been very present in my life, in my heart, in my body. and understanding that when all this shifting's done and this reconnection work is done, some of us have to come from that place. Those of us who can connect there and be responsible to carry it. From what I understand, that's my work right now. So many people reaching out for guidance, reaching out for a little bit of understanding as to what's going on and who's now here on the east coast of Australia, we've got a lot of questions around Indigenous politics and same as everywhere else. But just not letting that stop the flow of the wisdom, not letting that get in the way of people finding their directions for themselves, and that wisdom has to get through. And as much as there's a need for it, as much as the call is there, and yeah, I guess if offering to be that person or to be one of those people seems to be a full-time job right now, and as well as following my own guidance for my own personal journey. So I'm very, very glad to be able to sit with you, and I can instantly feel the connections all over this earth through the core and then out to all of us. And yeah, it's very supportive. Very supportive. I want everyone to know that you have my support too. To connect with me on that level. Yeah, I guess keeping it brief. Hope everybody's well and life's good, even though it's rough. But maybe we have easy learning and fast wisdom. And yeah, stay connected. And I let everybody that reaches out to you feel everything, all of us. That deep primordial energy of the deepest part of the ocean, the currents that move and shift. Let that energy come up and hold us all close. Much love to this beautiful place. Thank you. Wherever you are, blessed to be here.
Thank you, Jambe. And again, I know that brighten up that fire and keep it going really big for us, even if you will, right after we close this call, which will be very shortly now. And Shawnna, if you don't mind, our brother Mindahi is going to go from here to ceremony. And so I'm going to let him go next, if that's okay, and let you close this door for us in our circle. That be all right?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, then. Mindahi Basata, thank you for coming from Mexico, from the Otomi-Toltec peoples, with your message, your prayer, and your encouragement today.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I greet you from my heart and from the heart of the Otomi-Toltec people's territory of the Zambata Valley of the Moon, upper valleys in central Mexico. Today is a beautiful day. According to our ancestral calendar, is the Jaguar Day. And we are in Antangotu, waiting for our ancestors. They are coming back. And we are going to celebrate big, big fiestas at the end of the month and the beginning of November. As you might know, they are called also in Spanish El Día de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, but actually it's not the day, are the days of the dead, our ancestors. So in order to celebrate the North, because the Jaguar is in the North, reminding us that today is the day to remind the four sacred elements and the teachings that these sacred elements reflect on us as human beings. I'm going to blow the Jaguar sound. The message for today is that how we think about our relationship to Mother Earth and the celestial bodies. This word that is became very famous, sustainable development, actually is just a word that is trying to grasp ancestral wisdom, but not living the way of acting, the way of taking over the so-called natural resources. We don't see the animals and the plants and the mineral worlds as resources. We see them as relatives. And actually the four elements of life, they are sacred. So they are not resources. But in the economy and in the university, we are taught that they are resources and we can take over. In many, many religions around the world, even in sacred books, is written there, this anthropocentrical way of thinking that is killing Mother Earth and is killing us right at this time. Even with so much effort from some nation states that are beginning to acknowledge the rights of nature and the rights of Mother Earth is not enough. We are not getting there. There is no hope. Hope actually is a word that in general terms sounds very beautiful, but actually avoid us to take action. So this is the time to take action. and not to be in hope. When I was in Canada, I heard that there is a city called Hope. But, you know, we have to carry out prayers with actions. We have to really be mindful about and be responsible about our presence in this beautiful Mother Earth. Today, the GDP, the national development, the gross national product, what is this called, just take into consideration the health, education, and income, but in the capitalist way of thinking. And it doesn't take into consideration happiness. It doesn't take into consideration the community work that we are always bearing in mind as original nations, as original peoples of the world. So we have something to teach to the world. Let's think less anthropocentrically, and let's think more with Mother Earth, with the celestial bodies. Because the thing is that we need to care of life in the whole ecosystem. And as you know, ecosystems are the interrelationship among living beings. And in our eyes, everything is living. There is intelligence in every being. The rocks are living beings, the mountains, the creeks, the sea, the sky, everything. God's spirit, as we got. We are just another species. So we need to be mindful about our presence in the world. And with that, I want to remember and remind you how we came to this world. As human beings, we need to remember who we are. And we need 6 o'clock. Be in honor with the human family and also with our Mother Earth and her relatives, Father Sun, Gran Amun, Venus, the Pleiades, and all that is in the galaxy and in the universe. Because we are travelers, not forever here, not forever here, just for a little while. Let's walk together, being together in the unification process. We can make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mindahi. And, you know, I'm thinking of Mama Manuel and his son, Norisco, who, because they can't leave their country, only cargo can right now. He sent us word that he's going to be holding strong ceremony there throughout these days for all the good results to happen and to land with a strong voice for our planet. So I'm just feeling him right now and the work that he's already about. So just want to bring him into this stream of prayer that everything is growing the way you've grown it today, and I give great thanks. So Shawna Bluestar Newcomb, you know, you're of the Shawnee and the Lenape peoples, and you come with messages from the ancestors and the stars and all different courts, I would imagine, but you'll have to share more with that. Can you leave us with a strong message today as you close this circle for us?
I'll do my best. Yes, thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Grandmother Jyoti. It's very good to be here with all of the beautiful messages and prayers of our delegates today. And thank you all around the world who are tuning in, for opening your hearts and minds to us. We certainly are in unprecedented times, and it's something that I speak about with the great shift or the great turning. related to many of our Indigenous prophecies. In recent weeks, personally, I've been experiencing up here in the northwest of Turtle Island or US, there's been millions of acres being destroyed with the fires that have been raging across the West. And this is extremely unprecedented for this area. We've never seen anything to this extent. The heavy smoke and the air quality was really, really intense. And it was reported as some of the worst air quality in the world, up to levels of 5, 6, even 700, when it was the highest levels have been like 350 was the highest level in the world, or something like that before. But fortunately, some thunderstorms came through yesterday, and so that was beautiful to see the clouds and the rain come and to clear the air and calm the fires. So I just felt like that was a good reminder to us, just this beauty of this moment, the gratitude that we can have for these simple things with the air, clean water. These are part of these Indigenous principles and understandings that our elders have been talking about today. Many people have been feeling anxiety and stress and uncertainty and definitely grief. So my heart goes out to each of you in ways that you may feel suffering. And it may feel like a dark moment, but I also want to say that there's a silver lining. It doesn't have to feel hopeless. It doesn't have to feel dark when we can realize that we have the opportunity right now to co-create together in a really good way. And it's time to honor and love yourself and know that we all have a sacred purpose to be here at this time. And like Grandmother Jyoti said, it does require courage for us to come into this time right now, but we all have really important responsibilities to come to. I also wanted to talk about, growing up with the elders that I did when I was a young person. And it was really incredible to listen to our elders, and they would talk about the gratitude for the hard times. Gratitude, I remember Elder Al Smith would say he was grateful for tuberculosis, and he was grateful for alcoholism, and he was grateful for being put into the boarding schools of domination, because he was grateful for what it taught him. And so I really feel like that's another powerful lesson of this time. Like, what can we be learning? All of these different aspects, these times of extremes, these crises, the injustices that are being really put into our face to open our hearts and our minds in a different way, to making new choices, coming to new awarenesses, seeing each other, listening to each other in a different way. And our elders also spoke about being a good ancestor. So I feel like that's something else. And what does it mean to be a good ancestor in these times? It's echoed in all of the prayers and messages of our delegates today. But it's really about that interconnection of all things and understanding the sacred instructions and natural laws that our Indigenous nations and peoples have known from time immemorial. And really that greater understanding of the sacred circle that we as the human family, no matter where we are on this planet, can all be a part of, and really seeing that original spirituality of the planet was something that I speak to with the reverence code. But I see it's also about seeing kind of the importance of knowing the domination, dehumanization system and how that is no longer sustainable. And when people and corporations are putting profit over people and planet, what does that lead to? What does it lead to when society is forgetting where life comes from? And so these are some of the consequences that we're seeing in this rebalancing. So we're in a time of really important contrasts, if you will. And it's about helping us to remember and go back to those sacred ways and understandings. And I really do see that our Indigenous nations and peoples in many ways have a really important message to carry the world forward in a beautiful way so that we can keep going. Just knowing that we are connected to the earth and the stars, remembering that the animals are our relations, the birds, the trees, and remembering the sacred elements of all life, not taking for granted the waters that we have to drink, the air that's clean, and that we can just breathe clean, fresh air. We couldn't go outside the past almost 2 weeks now, because the air quality was so extreme and toxic. So these are good reminders. And I really feel that we each and every one of us have really good work to do. a greater responsibility to help restore the harmony and balance of the earth. And so it's up to each and every one of us to make these good choices. It's a powerful time of awakening and transformation. And it's a personal journey, like going within and really touching into ourselves, looking at those parts that maybe are hard to look at. It's really seeing that domination, dehumanization that's been put into ourselves. We see that as the original virus, that we're all collectively coming from this place of trauma, that how it's affected us in body, mind, heart, spirit, our relations to each other, and our impact on the planet. It's all affecting everybody. So we really are in all of this together. And I feel like that brings us to a new understanding that we can move forward together in a really good way. It may be hard to see right now, but I feel like our collective humanity is healing through this transformation process. And the more we can do to help with that, the better. And so I just really want to say I send blessings to each and every one of you to remember that our ancestors, no matter where you are on this planet, are guiding us. I really feel like they're cheering us on in this time, that they, we are here, we're meant to go forward. It's meant to be that we look to those future generations and consider the children and the future, and how beautiful we can restore what was there in place for thousands and thousands of years. And it's been only just a very few hundred years that we've seen this modern society turn things into this imbalanced, unnatural state. And so it's a time of remembering. Going forward is really looking to the past and looking at those ancient ways and ancient traditions, sacred instructions and knowledge. So listen deeply to your inner guidance and your dreams, and just tune into your ancestors. I think all of these things make it possible to move forward in a good way. And really, I feel like it's a time of opening our hearts and minds, coming to look to reverence for the earth, ourselves, and each other, and the future generations and all the children of the world. And also just to remember that love does prevail. That's what we're opening to. We're coming into this time of an age of love, that there really is a brighter future ahead. Although it's really hard to see, I promise it's there. I really feel it. So blessings to all of our delegates, and I look forward to seeing you, and blessings to all of you tuning in. Much love to all of you. Wanishi.
Oh, thank you, Shawna. Thank you for such, it's like when I used to sit in that water woman seat behind that bucket in the morning, and that old grandma would come to sit behind me, and she would catch all the beautiful pearls that had been spoken throughout the night. That was the blessing, was going to go in that water that everybody was going to drink. And that's just what you did today for us. So thank you very much for that. And I want to give great thanks to all the delegation here and all the helpers that are behind the scenes helping to bring this into place. I want to give thanks to the staff, Margine and Audrey and others that have done so much to make this work more seamlessly. We're learning with all this technology. So thank you one and all for being so patient as we learn. I want to thank the ancestors of this land, for I'm sitting here in Northern California in the Pomo territory and the coastal Miwoks, and with the redwood trees outside my home, listening to everything we've been saying today. I want to give thanks that we're able to bring our fires into unity from all these different points around the planet. I want to give thanks for the Global Days of Unity, for the platform that they've held and are still holding, for the resonance of peace that they're growing, and that we are a part of that flow for peace. May it spread like a good aroma of compassion everywhere around this planet. And please come and join us in Stockholm. Watch for the emails that will give you more information as we know more information. It's growing as we speak. No matter where the Creator will have us sit, we will be sitting together. We will be joining our fires together, our hearts together, and our prayers together. As everyone here today has reminded us, we are all in this together. Have a beautiful time, and we'll see you from Stockholm. Blessings to you.